So today I want to talk what it was like to make $10,000 a month in net passive income by the age of 33. Right? So this video is for those of you who are new to my journey. You're a new subscriber. Thank you for subscribing, first of all, but you're new to my journey and you want to know it. And I want to share what it's like to really build $10,000 a month in net passive income by the age of 33. So it sounds very impressive, right? When I say this, and if you just know me now, but I want to share the journey of what it took to get there and what it's really like. So this journey really started, honestly, when I started high school, right? So in high school, I was 14. I wanted to get in a good college, so I grinded. I took a bunch of AP classes, advanced placement classes. I studied. I was on the varsity tennis team. I still wanted to have fun, want to be efficient. So I was always wanting to improve myself. So from 14 all the way to 18, high school, I basically was grinding and pushing myself for education because I love to learn and I love to constantly better myself and I like to push my limits, right? So I started in high school. From there, I got into a 5-year pharmacy school program through University Pacific. So I spent 2 years undergrad and then 3 years in pharm school. So I graduate as a pharmacist at 23, which is very early, right? Most people graduate as a pharmacist at 26 at best case. I graduate at 23 because I shaved off 3 years. So it's very hard to get into this program. You usually have to have good grades. For context, I was top 5% in my high school and we had 800 students. So I was the top 40 or 30, right? So I had over a 4.0 GPA, grinded it, got into this 5-year program, and even this 5-year program, it's not easy, right? We had 50 people go in the 5-year program, and out of 50, only 11 made it in 5 years, right? Because if you, let's say, don't do well in a class, you don't hit a certain GPA, you have to basically take an extra year in undergrad, or if you fail a class in pharmacy school, you get held back a year, right? So the people who actually made it out of the 5-year program was only 11 out of 50. So, what's that? That's only 20% or less than 20% people will make it. So it's not easy, right? You're grinding. I was taking 20 units a semester. Transition to college was hard for me. And you're stressed to meet this new GPA while living in a new environment, right? So I grinded in those 5 years to basically, there's no summers. I literally had no summers. I was taking summer classes because I'm trying to finish in 2 years, undergrad in 2 years, and in farm school it's year round to finish in 3 years instead of 4 years. So you're grinding, right? I literally had a week off for spring break and maybe 3 weeks off for winter break, right? So you're constantly grinding. And then when you graduate, at that point, I graduated with $250,000 of student debt that I had to pay off, right? And I got my first pharmacist job. And I got my first pharmacy job at Walgreens, and believe it or not, after a month, I got fired from Walgreens, and I was shook. I was like, I worked my ass off to get into pharmacy school, finish pharmacy school in 5 years, and I had this bad pharmacy manager who was a poor leader, and that's what inspired me to pursue pharmacy leadership. I'm currently a pharmacy director right now at a hospital. And I became a pharmacy director at 27. But what really motivated me to become a pharmacy director, a pharmacy leader, was I realized how bad this person was. She was a pharmacy manager for Walgreens. She was being groomed to be the district manager of Walgreens, which is you oversee a whole region of 30 Walgreens. And I just said, if this person can do it, and she rules with fear, she doesn't teach well, she criticizes, she's not a great leader. I just said, I just do the complete opposite of her, and I'll be successful. Right? So I just said, okay, if this person can do it, I can do it. And it sucks, right? I got fired, and I was like, you know what? My dad told me if one door closes, another door opens, and I just took it as a sign that, I didn't really like working Walgreens or retail or CVS. That's called retail pharmacy. And I was like, you know what? This is a sign that I'm probably meant to do hospital pharmacy. So I applied to 100 jobs at Indeed. I'd wake up every single morning at 8 a.m., go on Indeed.com and apply to every single job I saw in California, right? That's how much dedication it took. I applied to 100 jobs over probably the span of 2 months, and out of the 100 jobs, I got maybe 10 interviews on the phone, and out of the 10 interviews I got in person or on the phone, I probably got 2 job offers, right? So that's how much you have to grind. So I hate it when people say, oh, Steven, it's hard to get a job. I'm like, how many jobs do you apply to? 2? Okay. I applied to 100. I had 10 reach out to me for an interview and only 2 offered me. So it's just a numbers game, right? So at that point, I basically realized that, hey, this is just a numbers game. And eventually I got a job, right? I got a job, and it wasn't in the greatest area, right? It was in King City, which is in, that's an hour below Salinas. And it had great hours, but they gave me an opportunity, right? They gave me an opportunity to get some experience. I worked there for 2 years. And then I got a job at Santa Clara Valley Medical Center near where I live, my hometown. So I got a job there, and I was working graveyard, right? It's not easy because when you start off at a big hospital, you're working graveyard. So you're working crazy hours, man. Sometimes I'm starting at 7 a.m. Sometimes I'm starting at 8 a.m. Sometimes I'm starting at 10, 1 p.m., 3 p.m. Sometimes graveyard, I start at 9 p.m., right? So my schedule's all over the place. I worked random weekends, right? I had a shitty schedule, right? But I know this is temporary, and they gave me an opportunity. So I'm grateful for that opportunity, and I want to learn as much as possible because I felt like I wasn't good enough to be there. Because most people have to do a 1-year residency in pharmacy. A lot of people don't know that pharmacists, we do residency too, or can do residency. It's optional. But usually they take people who do residency. But because I didn't have a residency, I just had about 2 years of experience. They took a chance on me. I wanted to prove that I was fit for the job, and I don't want them to regret hiring me, right? So I grinded, and during this whole time, because I wanted to become a pharmacy director, I was working full-time W-2, and I was doing a master's in public health through UC Berkeley that was remote. So I was working full-time and taking 2 classes, I think 2 classes every 3 months, right? So every quarter I was taking 2 classes. So I'm working full-time, crazy schedule, right? Inconsistent schedule. I'm going to school part-time, 2 classes every 3 months, right? But, for me, pharmacy, the master's degree was easier than pharmacy school because pharmacy is a doctorate level program, so it was easier for me, right? So I was doing that while working out like 4 to 5 times a week and having a social life still, right? So I was juggling multiple things, right? It's not easy. It's a grind, right? It's not going to be easy. So I just said, okay, that's why I hate when people say, Steve, I'm not moving in my career. I'm like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing to make yourself better? Are you getting additional education? Are you getting certification? Like, what are you doing to better yourself? Are you just putting in the bare minimum effort and expect to move up? That's not going to happen, right? So after 2 years there, I finished my master's degree. I got my first pharmacy director job. And that job was hard. Like, it was a complete shit show. The director got fired, and I had to come in and fix everything, right? As a new director, by myself, right? I had to come in there. I grinded for 6 months. I hated my life, right? I thought I wanted to quit, and this wasn't for me. But I just said, you know what, Steven? Nothing will be harder than this moment in my life. And that proved to be true. Like, I learned so much in that 6 months. I got hit with everything. Everything was wrong. Surveyors were coming in and trying to shut down the hospital. And I came in there and I fixed it and I survived, right? And then I went to another bigger hospital 2 years later, and same situation. Director was fired. It was a bankrupt situation. The hospital was about to close down, and I came in there, had to fix the hospital, get the hospital out of probation. And I learned a lot, right? Now I went to Southern California during the heart of COVID to be near my girlfriend. And I was at a job. It was a very easy job, but after being there for 7 months, COVID hit. People were too afraid to go to the emergency room. People were canceling their surgery procedures. And I got laid off during the heart of COVID. When you need the pharmacist the most, I got laid off. And that shook me. And I just said, oh my God, it's hard to get a job here. So once again, I applied, went to a bunch of jobs, got an interim position for like 6 months. And after 6 months, that ended, and had to grind to get my current job. And the current job wasn't the greatest location. I'm commuting 70 miles each way, 140 miles a day. That's 3 hours of commute, right? Hour and a half, hour up, plus 30 minutes of me charging my Tesla, and then an hour and a half back, right? So I'm grinding, and while I was working and doing all that, I had to do this. So, what I'm trying to say is, while I was working full time, right? In 2017, I was a pharmacy director, going through the worst 6 months of my life. In 2017, I bought my first single-family home, 10% down, for $800,000. I house hacked it. In 2019, I got my next job as a next pharmacy director in San Francisco. Bought that 10% down. I house hacked it. Kept my last house, rented that out. When I moved to Southern California, I rented an apartment, or I bought a house for 10% down, wanted to move in it, decided that I didn't want to house hack anymore because I had a girlfriend and wanted privacy. And then at that point, I basically rented out that property And at that point, I learned how to buy out-of-state real estate in Alabama, in Huntsville, Alabama. Bought that, 20% down. At that point, I wanted to transition to apartment complexes for more cash flow. Learned how to buy in Oklahoma. Bought a 26 unit in Oklahoma. Bought a 20 unit in Oklahoma. And I bought a mobile home park in Alabama. So why I want to share the story is because to get to $10,000 a month net by 33, it sounds great to say when you hear it now, but I've been grinding since I was like 14 years old. That's almost 20 years of grinding. First phase, I was grinding in school. Next phase, I was grinding in pharmacy school. Next phase, I was grinding as a pharmacist. After that, I was trying to move up as a pharmacist. I was going to working as a full-time pharmacist, getting a master's degree to become a pharmacy director. While I was a pharmacy director, I was being challenged, and I tried to move to bigger hospitals, and I was making more money. I was not spending more money. I was not lifestyle inflating. I was buying real estate consistently, right? It's not easy buying a house for $800,000, putting 10% down, living in the master bedroom, and renting out 3 other bedrooms and having roommates. It's not easy. It's not easy doing that a second time. Buying a second single-family home in San Francisco, and buying a second single-family home in San Francisco, and then basically buying a second one and house hacking that, right? And then moving to Southern California to getting laid off in Southern California. At that point, working full-time, buying apartment complexes, buying mobile home parks. It's not easy, right? So, like, it sounds easy to say, but like I said, I've been grinding for the past 20 years. So what I want to share is that, yes, you can make $10,000 a month in net positive income by 33 and be worth $5 million like me. But did you work as hard as me the past 20 years? Right? A lot of people that reach out to me didn't realize that I've been grinding for 20 years. I've been grinding since I was 14. Right? So if you maybe weren't grinding then, you can start your 20 years now. Maybe you're 40. Start your 20 years now. And by the time you're 60, you'll have what I have. Or maybe more. Right? Or maybe if you're 20, you can start now and have what I have by 40. So what I want you to know is it's not easy. There's no magic pill. There's no shortcut. There's no hack. You just grind for 20 years. And you be consistent and you improve yourself and you challenge yourself and you push yourself. That's how you get it. So hopefully you have some insight on what it's really like to make $10,000 a month in net in passive income to real estate, have a $5 million net worth by 33. This is what it takes. It's not easy. So hopefully you found value from this video. I love to do real talk to give you perspective of what it's really like. It's not easy. Like a lot of YouTubers make it seem easy. I want you to know it's hard, right? So please share this video with somebody who can benefit from this, and let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Thank you so much, and hope to see you in the next one.